Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Channel 6 TV, Community Focus. I'm Kenny Fogle. Glad you could join us tonight as we're counting down to November 6th, Tuesday, November 6th. That's the day where you get your chance to get out and say what it is that you want to say about government, whether it's city, county, state, or whatever happens to be going on your ballot. And hopefully you will show up to vote, and hopefully you can have a good, educated decision. That's what we're here for now, is to give you a little educational information about the candidates on the ballot and about the issues and about what's coming up on November 6th. Got Mr. Philip Bischoff here with us today, and Philip is running for Magistrate District number 3 here in Nelson County. First of all, Philip, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you being here. So, first of all, before we get into your issues and all that kind of stuff, who is Philip Bischoff? Philip
Bischoff. I got a small beef farm out in Boston. Mm-hmm. Of course, I've never ran for any kind of office before. I graduated from Trinity High School in 1993. Yeah. My wife and I, we moved to Boston in 2010. We're out there with our two boys, 8 and 10, Brody and Reed. My wife's a Cub Master out there at the Boston school. Uh-huh. We try to stay involved with that. I got the farm out there and been trying to get hay up, been trying to do politicking and all that, and needless to say, I still got about 50 acres of hay to cut.
Well, today's a nice rainy day, so I figured I'd get you in here and talk about a little politics. And well, sometime along the line there, I don't know when it was, maybe it was a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, something clicked in you, so I think I'd like to run for public office. What brought that on?
Well, the biggest thing, of course, when I lived in Shepherdsville, I was a little involved in the politics there, not a whole lot. But when I moved to Boston, I felt like I just needed to figure out what was going in Nelson County, what was going on here in Nelson County, and it came down right before the election, and come out in the paper that Berner was unopposed, and I didn't feel like that was right. I felt like 32 years, the man ought to at least have somebody to run against, and then
give him something to do anyway.
Yeah, and actually, I didn't make my mind up 100% until the day before the deadline.
Yeah.
The Monday night before is when I definitely made up my mind, and I went up there and I signed up.
Yeah.
And on that day, David Call and Selvie Vitito both signed up, so we all got to have a primary, and I'm kind of glad that happened, because that toughened me up a little bit, got me ready for this. So
what is it? I mean, obviously you've been in Nelson County a while, or just Kentucky in general. What are the issues that are facing the county right now that you think really need to be addressed?
Well, we got the bypass road coming in. That's the state's going to do what they want to do there, and we'll just have to go along for that ride. I've been going to fiscal court meetings since January. I've missed like 2 meetings since January. I am very disappointed in how closed those meetings are, and how we the people don't have access to the information on what's going on up there. I just really don't think that's right. And hopefully, come January, I'm going to be more involved, and I'm going to get to see what's going on.
Well, as a magistrate, do you think you'll be able to make a difference as far as that? I mean, you'll see what's going on, but will you be able to get the meetings out in the public more so?
Well, I mean, of course, it's been proposed, afternoon meetings. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
We'll see if we get that. If we may not. But we're going to have a few new magistrates for sure.
Yeah.
So, we're definitely going to have 2 new magistrates. We may have 3 new magistrates. We don't know until after November 6th.
So, you look at a magistrate's role. I mean, is a magistrate up there to vote on issues? A magistrate's supposed to be driving the issue. Are you serving the people of the Boston area? What's your role, you see?
My role would be, the magistrate thing is like a case-by-case thing, deal for me, or at least that's what I see. They vote on all the issues and the stuff proposed to their court. Of course, our county judge is spending what he wants to spend the money on. We have to okay or deny that. And then we got the little bit of asphalt budget we've got. But besides that, I'm going to have to learn as I go.
Yeah.
I've not been tied up in any of the politics here in town since the end of January. That's when I started getting involved, and then, boy, am I involved now.
There you go. Well, you mentioned a few minutes ago the bypass and a new rock quarry. And that's all going to be in your district.
Yeah, the rock quarry's
that's going to change the landscape of that district considerably.
Yeah, the rock quarry's up and going. Mm-hmm. I mean, their trucks coming in and out of there daily. So
you see that bypass as it's still in the talking stage to a large degree, but right. it looks like it's getting closer all the time.
They need to tie somewhere in to get those trucks over off onto 245 somehow. However they do it, that's going to be up to the state.
Yeah.
So
is there any particular issues that are unique to Boston, that area down there, that's not being addressed? I mean, I'm sure you're hearing from people all the time when you talk to them.
Internet. I've got a lot of people concerned about internet, and of course there are still a few roads down there that are rock roads, and I've found several of them. But the internet seems to be the biggest deal.
Yeah.
We had to pay to have the cable internet ran to our house, and that's there's a lot of people that want the access to that don't have access to internet. So.
Fire issue. Is fire issue much of an issue down there? They got a good fire department.
We've got a pretty decent volunteer fire department. Them guys, they put in the time. I mean, for volunteers, I think they do a real good job.
So I know one of the issues, obviously, with the county is dealing with the city and dealing with the state, and that's something that you'll have to do a whole lot more as a magistrate dealing with issues other than just county. So. Again, is this an on-the-job learning experience?
It'll be an on-the-job learning experience, just like it's been since January for me. With the farm, I done the same way. I jumped right in and just started just learning as I went.
Yeah.
And 5 years, I'm running about 100 head of feeder cattle now, and that's a learning experience there on its own. That's if you can go from not owning an animal in 30 years, and then jumping in. The first thing I done was I bought 50 Holstein steers that weighed 175 pounds, and that was a learning experience. And if a man can do that, he can do just about anything.
Yeah, if you can herd cattle, you can herd people. Well, let's just get one thing. You mentioned earlier about people knowing what's going on, and how do you keep people informed? I mean, how will people be able to? Well, they have a lot of access to you. How would they get a hold of you if they want
to? They'll have my phone number at that point, and my information will be out there. And of course, I'm on Facebook. Mm-hmm. You can get a hold of me on Facebook.
Right.
And, that was the first thing that I done when I signed up. Well, one of the first things was I opened a Facebook account so people had access to me and I had access to them. I had no intentions on having a Facebook account, and that just came along with the job. So
social media is getting to be more important. I know several elected officials are not on Facebook. I mean, to me, I don't see how they really.
I don't see how they communicate either.
I don't either.
After I've been on there, it's like, wow.
It's a two-way communication. It's not like you just hearing you giving a speech and they don't. I mean, it's instant feedback.
Right.
Sometimes it's not always good feedback.
Right. Well, if you need to get a hold of somebody, you can send them a message. Like I sent you a message the other day that I want to try to get my interview in today. And you can get a hold of people like that. It's handy for sure.
I guess this is one question. I've always sort of a loaded question because you're running against a guy that's been in 30-some years. But do you have any view on, let's say, term limits or things like that? Do you think that's a good thing, bad thing, or what do you see on that?
Actually, a few of us were discussing that this morning, and I think the term limits are a good deal. Mm-hmm. I think 2 terms, maybe 3, but I just really don't think it's healthy for county, government officials to make it a lifelong deal, because for what I'm seeing, I'm not happy. Mm-hmm. So that's.
As a small farmer, you have to deal much with planning and zoning, or is that something?
A little bit. I've had to deal with planning and zoning, and it was an experience, but we got it worked out. That's what.
That's usually the question I hear from most people is that anybody's having an experience in planning and zoning has always got a story.
Yeah.
So
I've got a story. I put in a house trailer, and there were a lot of issues with that when I done that, but we got it worked out. So
yeah.
you got to keep plugging along at it and be patient. So,
well, property values obviously have been going up for the last several years, and that's one of the reasons they say offset's the reason to ever have to do a major tax increase. But
right.
I don't know. I guess you've been, like I said, you've been following along the last year exactly the functions of fiscal court. I don't know if it's like I said, transparency is a big issue, obviously, but
right.
Keeping up with it's an ordeal.
Right,
So,
definitely.
So, well, I appreciate you coming in today. Is there anything you'd like to say to the voters before you get out of here?
I'd just like to say, I've been out in the public and I've met a lot of the people, and I'm really enthusiastic about the people I've been meeting, and I want to ask all of you to make sure you get out and vote, because that's how we're going to get this done. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Well, Philip, appreciate you being here with us today.
Philip
Bischoff, he's running for District 3 Magistrate here in Nelson County. And again, he'll be on the ballot on November 6th. And I keep repeating that day over and over, because that's the day when you get a chance. And hopefully it's not raining like it is today out here. And hopefully or maybe it is. Take that time anyway. Get out there and get to that voting booth and have your voice heard. That's what makes a difference in government. Don't be sitting by complaining November 7th that things are going bad and you don't like it. Get out on November 6th and have your say. And that's when it all makes a difference. Philip, appreciate you being here. Philip Bischoff with District 3 Magistrate in Nelson County on the ballot. He's doing his part. Now you do yours. Get out and vote on November 6th. And we'll be back in just a few minutes here on Channel 6 TV right after these few words from our sponsor.